You may say you're the man, but I am the baddest on the planet.
I'll give a damn on my reputation. Living in the past of the new generation. And I don't do what you want to do, and that's not what I do. I don't give a damn on my bad reputation.
Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing great. In today's video, the individual in focus is one of the greatest female athletes the world has ever seen, Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Ronda was a bona fide superstar of the UFC and the WWE. She was one of the first athletes to pave the way for women in mixed martial arts due to her phenomenal success in the UFC. Rousey became a global star and gained recognition for her contribution to the sport of MMA. But what kind of impact did Ronda have on the sport of MMA? How is her life outside the octagon? What are her likes and her possessions? All of this will be revealed in our countdown, so without wasting any time, let's get straight into it. Number 9. Career highlights. It all started for Ronda during the Olympics in Athens in 2004, where she was the youngest woman judoka from the United States. She trained at the age of 11 with her mother, who was a judo champion, and made her way into the judoka team that went into the Beijing Olympics in 2008. Rousey would go on to earn a bronze medal for her efforts, as she made history by becoming the first American since 1992 to win an Olympic medal in women's judo. She left judo at the age of 21 and started to work in multiple jobs as a bartender and cocktail waitress to make ends meet. You will be surprised to hear this, but the reason Ronda was offered those jobs was because of her judo background. She recalls in an interview, "I had like 2 jobs bartending and as a cocktail waitress at the Cork on Crenshaw and Adams. They only hired me because I could fight. It is the only time fighting helped me out with a good job," she giggles. But little did they know that fighting would turn her into an overnight sensation. She started training for mixed martial arts, and her first major break came in Strikeforce, where she initially competed in the 145-pound division, but would eventually come down to 135. That move turned out to be beneficial for Rousey, as she became the Strikeforce bantamweight champion by defeating defending champ Miesha Tate, with whom she would go on to have a long rivalry with.
Women's World Bantamweight Champion, Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
It wasn't long until the UFC came calling in 2013, and Ronda's MMA career would seriously take off to new heights. Before stepping foot inside the UFC octagon, UFC President Dana White announced that Ronda Rousey was the new UFC Women's Champion, and she would fight against Liz Carmouche for the UFC Bantamweight Championship at UFC 157. She also created history by competing in the first ever women's fight in the UFC. She would defeat Carmouche with ease by submitting her in the first round via armbar. The armbar would turn out to be a crucial weapon in Ronda's arsenal in the future, as she literally stormed through the bantamweight division with ease by submitting the likes of Beta Correia and others within the first round of their fights. Many thought she was too supreme of an athlete that others in the division just didn't stand a chance against her. Very few could argue that sentiment at the time. She would later renew her rivalry with Miesha Tate in 2013, as both were assigned as coaches in the 18th season of the TUF. Many fans weren't impressed by Ronda's behavior towards Tate during the season, as she came across a little too disrespectful for the audience's liking. They would meet at UFC 168 for the UFC Bantamweight Championship, where once again, Ronda dominated the fight, earning a 3rd round submission victory via armbar. She irked the fans once again when she refused to shake hands with Tate after the match, but that didn't concern Ronda, as she proved once again that she was head and shoulders above the rest of the division. Several accolades came her way, as she was the SB Women's Athlete of the Year in 2014 and 2015, becoming the first athlete from mixed martial arts to receive that honor.
I'm living such a lucky and blessed life, and I'm trying my best to deserve it. So thank you. I'll be back here to watch.
Joe Rogan on his podcast went as far as to say that she was capable of beating half of the bantamweights from the men's roster. By this time, the sky was the limit for Ronda. Her first setback came when she suffered her first loss in MMA against Holly Holmes in UFC 193, who knocked Ronda out with a head kick in the 2nd round, putting an end to her dominant run as champion. Many attributed that loss to Ronda's lack of patience and head movement. After the defeat, Ronda took a year off from the sport and made her return against bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes. You would wonder, after her devastating loss to Holly, it would have been logical for Ronda to get some tune-up fights before fighting for the title again. Instead, Ronda would fight against Nunes at UFC 207, where once again she looked a shadow of her former self inside the octagon. Nunes would pick her apart as she was knocked out in the first round due to a flurry of punches she caught her in the face. After suffering back-to-back defeats, Ronda took the decision to quit the UFC in 2017. Many thought that the losses had weighed heavy on Ronda, and this was probably the end of her fighting career. She was rightfully inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for her contributions in making the sport relevant to women. But come 2018, in a shocking turn of events, Ronda would make her appearance in the Royal Rumble 2018, announcing her move to the WWE. She developed a feud with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon because of them viewing her as a short-term WWE project. She made quite a statement on the day of her contract signing when she slammed Triple H on the contract table because of the comments he made to her. Ronda would team up with Raw General Manager Kurt Angle to face Triple H and Stephanie McMahon in a mixed tag team match at WrestleMania 34. She was victorious in her debut as she submitted Stephanie with a, you guessed it, right armbar.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Stephanie taps! Rousey may have broken her arm!
She then defeated Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam to become the WWE Raw Women's Champion, making her the first woman in history to win the WWE and UFC Championship. She defended her title on numerous occasions against the likes of Charlotte Flair, Nikki Bella, Sasha Banks, and other female superstars of the WWE roster. Her ring name, Rowdy, was inspired by the late Roddy Piper, to whom she had asked whether she could use his ring name for future appearances, to which he agreed. Her finishing move, the Piper's Pit, was also inspired by Roddy. Rousey became a fan favorite of the WWE, with many impressed by her in-ring dominance and aura, which made her one of the best female wrestlers in the roster. Once again, fans were back on the Ronda hype train. In an epic Rousey fight against Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match at WrestleMania, ultimately, it was Becky Lynch who won the match to become Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. The manner of the victory was a little controversial, left the organization citing the WWE's heavy and demanding tour schedule as one of the main reasons behind her departure. Her desire to spend more time with her family was also one of the key factors, but her stint in the WWE allowed people to see the real side of Ronda, especially for those who still thought of her as being an arrogant and proud woman. Number 8. Lucrative Salary. Ronda's fame and success resulted into her being one of the highest paid female athletes of her time. In the UFC, there was a point where Ronda was earning a salary equivalent to the top male athletes in the roster. It would be hard to argue with that fact, as she was the pioneer of women's MMA in the UFC. In her last fight with Amanda Nunes, she earned $3 million just to show, excluding the share of pay-per-view revenue, reiterating the fact that she was earning significantly more than some of the male superstars in the UFC at the time. In the WWE, her base salary was $1.5 million, making her the highest paid female wrestler of the roster. Deservedly so, as she was the longest reigning women's champion in the WWE at the time, affirming her status as the baddest woman on the planet. Number 7. Sponsorships. As her name grew, so did the list of Ronda's sponsors. Ronda's sponsors include the Mizuno Sports Gear, Max Fitness Muscle, Metro PCS, Monster Energy during her UFC days, iBuyPower, the gaming PC company, and many more. Ronda has made the front page of several magazines, being the cover star of ESPN's Body Issue and Maxim Australia in 2012. She really pushed the envelope of being a rich and successful female athlete of her generation, but that was not the end of her tryst in the spotlight. Number 6. Hollywood. It wasn't long that Ronda's popularity would make the world of Hollywood take notice. Her fighting prowess helped her land roles in top TV shows and action movies such as The Fast and the Furious 7, The Entourage, and Charlie's Angels. She also starred in the Expendables 3 movie, working alongside Sylvester Stallone and also kicking some ass in the process.
Man.
When asked about taking up the challenge of acting, she said, "Fighting and acting are both high-pressure situations, which I think that's how they translate with each other, but other than that, it's an entirely different skill that I have to learn from scratch, and just be humble and be like, okay, I am a white belt in acting. I am ready to put in the hours." We might see Ronda appear more on the red carpet in the future. Number 5. She lived the celebrity life for a while. Not only did we see her on movie red carpets, Ronda became a regular on talk shows. She made her appearance on The Ellen Show, Jimmy Kimmel, and other popular talk shows where she has shared her views on her personal life, fighting, and the wrestling business. Ronda has been quite open about her setbacks as well, where in one of the episodes, she gets emotional talking to Ellen about her loss to Holmes. She also has appeared in comedy channels such as Kevin Hart's LOL Network, where we got to see Ronda at her cheeky best. Underneath that tough exterior, there is a humorous side to Ronda as well.
This is plastic! Bam Bam, I'm insulted! Get the gun! Ah! Oh, God! I put it! I did my promo on me!
Number 4. Professional gamer. Since her departure from the WWE, Ronda has become an active gamer. She recently signed a deal to create her own stream with Facebook Gaming. Ronda has named her stream the baddest stream on the planet, where she streams her favorite DBZ, Pokemon, and Warcraft games of the platform, as well as uploading its highlights on her YouTube channel, also showing her real side to fans by interacting with them. When asked about her passion for gaming, gaming has always been my passion, and I can't wait to share it on Facebook with my fans. She has been invited as a guest of honor in game releases such as the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal, where she lent her voice for the character Sonya Blade. Seems like Ronda is slowly becoming a jack of all trades.
This is a dream come true. I tried to grow up to be Sonya Blade as close as I could. Like, I feel like if Raiden came down right now and had to pick 3 warriors Mortal Kombat, like, I would definitely be that person.
Number 3, her love for the sax. Talking about dominating the fight in the wrestling industry, Ronda has now set her sights on conquering the jazz industry. Okay, we're joking. Ronda's love for the saxophone is so deep that when she's on it, she totally immerses herself into the experience. During her WWE days, she used to go on a saxophone playing spree in the locker room, to her fellow superstars' dismay. Ronda says, "I've been playing the saxophone since my days in the Olympics. This is how I talk to the world." Before we move ahead with the countdown, it's time for the fun fact. Fun fact, Ronda, in an interview with The Hot Ones, recently declared that during her UFC days, she used to have 50 pieces of hot wings after a fight. She says that, "I always craved hot wings. It became like the post-winning wings. Nothing better than rewarding yourself with wings after a win." Number 2, cars. Ronda's first car was a 2005 Honda Accord LX. It is a car that is very close to her heart and occupied a place in her parking lot for a long time. But in 2015, she decided to sell the car and it got her a good $21,300. Her current car collection includes the Cadillac Escalade, Chevrolet Suburban, BMW X6 Mansory, and a Ford F350. Well, that is a nice set of cars, isn't it? Number 1, Browsey Acres. Ronda lives with her family in Riverside, California, in a 2.3-acre ranch named the Browsey Acres. She moved in with her husband Travis Browne, who is a former UFC heavyweight, and her stepsons to the ranch in 2017. It is a one-of-a-kind sustainable ranch which raises different animals similar to an animal farm. Travis and Ronda together feed and look after the animals of the ranch with due diligence and care. The house is built with solar panels, Tesla tiles, and water catchment system, reaffirming the sustainable way of living. The idea of living in such humble surroundings is because they wanted to experience life in its truest form without the noise and hassle of everyday life. Her reason to leave the WWE was to start a family with Travis, and recently at the start of the year, Ronda broke the news that she is expecting her first child with him. After achieving everything there was to achieve, Ronda wanted to get back to her roots of living a private life rather than a celebrity one. The cost of the ranch is undisclosed, but it might be safe to say it's on the higher side. So finally, after looking at Ronda's legendary career in the UFC and WWE, her earnings, endorsements, her movie career, her celebrity circle, and her lifestyle, her net worth stands at a respected $13 million, making her arguably one of the richest female wrestlers and mixed martial artists of all time. And by this, we have come to the end of our video today, but before leaving, we would like to know, do you think Ronda ushered the era of women's MMA in the UFC? Is she a big factor in the UFC success today? Have your views about Ronda changed after looking at her lifestyle? Why is she so loved by fans all around the world? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next time.